Hi and welcome to RTG, Retro Tech Guardian, with Ted and I. Right, in this video I'm going to be doing probably the final video of how to transmit a TV signal, an RF signal, to an old analog TV. This is probably the simplest setup and it probably was the one I should have started with, but I had certain equipment at the time that I didn't have now, that I've got now, so this is by far the easiest way to set it up. And as you can see, Ted's wearing his hard hat today. He's been helping me with the car. I've been working on my car, hence my hands and my arms a bit chewed up, so apologies, but you know, I have to get these things done. I don't get a lot of time working nights. So right, so what you'll need for this is an old aerial. Now this is an indoor aerial that you would have seen back in probably the 80s, 90s, maybe up to the early 2000s. It's just a standard little aerial. Now, the bigger the aerial, usually the further you can send the signal. With this little one, I managed to get around 5 meters and through a wall. So. But remember that these aerials are very directional. If you remember, even today, when you have a new aerial fitted on your roof, your engineer will install the aerial and make sure that it's pointing in the right direction to pick up the transmission. So these are very directional. Now the other option you could use, I don't have one. I did used to have one when I had my motorhome, but obviously I left it on there. And it's these, and they call them status aerials, but they're omnidirectional, so they're not directional as such. They will pick up a signal full 360 degrees. Now for you to use one of these aerials in the same way I'm going to be using this one today, you would get full 360 degree coverage. They're not massive aerials, so you know, I don't know how far they would transmit, but you wouldn't have to worry about making sure that you direct your aerial towards where you're going to be using your either portable TV or your RF TV. So yeah, so that's the other one that you could use. These are a lot more expensive. That's why we've got this one here today, just to show you. So, but they would probably be the best bet. So if you can find one of those cheap second-hand on somewhere like eBay or wherever, Facebook Marketplace, whatever, they would be the best ones to use. So we'll turn that off. We'll put that away because we don't need that anymore. So that was just purely to show you the ones that you could get. So to do this one, like I say, you need an aerial. You need a video source. Now I'm going to be using this camcorder. And this camcorder has, I call these phono outputs, or component video or composite video, which is the yellow for video, red is usually your right speaker out, and white is usually for your left speaker. So they will connect to, depends what source you use to convert this from this kind of signal to RF. Now in my first video I've got an old VCR, an old Hitachi VCR that has AV in, and it will let you display that AV signal through the RF towards your TV. So in that I use that one. Now in the meantime I bought this little fella. It basically does exactly the same job. It's a hell of a lot smaller than a VCR. So on here you've got channel plus and minus, so you can set what channel. Now on the VCR you're stuck to channel 36. Now I found that experimenting with this in the past, the higher, round about the channel 50 mark, seems to be the best one and the one I get the least interference from. And you've got the little on-off switch there, and that's a little LED display. We'll show you that lit up in a sec. Now on each side, you've got your VCR SCART in, and then VCR SCART out. So it's got a SCART pass through, but you can't display what's on here through RF. you can only show that through the composite video or component video connections through to RF. Now it's got an RF in, an aerial in and RF out, so you could use this just plug in like a Freeview signal and then send it out to an analog TV that way, but you still won't pick anything up because it's an old analog system. So this is the best way I find, instead of using that big VCR. Now I've got the power leads plugged in for that ready, which is what these wires are here. You'll also need a signal booster. So this is an aerial booster or signal booster. This is just a cheap one for all one, came from Argos. That's the current number if you want one yourself. I got this on offer, £15. It's got 4 outputs, 1 input, and it's supposed to have a 5G or 4G filter in it, and it's supposed to be plug and play, which it is, and it's got up to 23 decibel boost. Now I paid 15 for this one. I went for this one because it was on offer. It had a 4-way output. Usually for £15 you get the one with just 1 output. So I've got the power supply plugged in for that and this already. And just to show you this thing, we'll get rid of the box in a second. It is just a tiny little block, and all that does is just boost the signal. So we're going to be boosting the signal from this RF modulator, and we're going to be transmitting, instead of putting this to a TV, we'll be putting that to an aerial, and then that aerial will send the signal over the air to your TV. So we get rid of that. So we'll set all these up now. So we'll plug in the RF modulator, and just to show you when you turn it on, there you go, you see the little LED display in there. It's currently set to channel 46, so we'll turn that off. The other thing you need is a male to female RF lead. I mean, these were everywhere back in the day when this was the only way to connect to your TV. It's probably better to have one that isn't crimped in the middle. I don't know if that's going to affect the signal, but hey ho. So on here you've got one that says aerial, that would be your input, and your output is your TV VCR. Sorry, I'll show you that. So you've got aerial and TV VCR. So you want to connect the female end to the TV VCR, and then the male end will go into your little one for all booster, like so. Now your normal aerial here will just have a male RF connector connected to it. So if I get that out for you, so we'll get that round there out of the way a little bit, and then that would connect to the output here. Now when you plug this in, yes, there's a lot of wires around. Obviously you would do this a lot neater. It's hard for me to do this and then show it you're working. Now you can see the little power LED is just lit up. I hope you can see that anyway. So that's all powered up now. So that is sending no signal, because we haven't put a signal into this yet, towards the aerial. So we then get the AV leads from the camcorder, and we plug white to white, red to red, and yellow to yellow. So apart from turning the camera on, that's all the equipment set up. So you've got your video source being sent out to your modulator or your VCR, whichever one you use. I mean, if you've got an old VCR with AV in and it will transmit back to your TV through RF, then fine, use that. If not, buy yourself a little RF modulator. Got this second hand on eBay. Be amazed how much these are. 20 odd pound for this little thing, and that was second hand with no power supply, because I don't know, you just can't seem to get them anymore. There don't seem to be many around. So now then, we'll turn the camera on, and for this little display will be focusing on Ted with his hard hat. As you can see, there's Ted in the viewfinder there. If we zoom in, there you go, there's Ted. So now we'll get the TV. Now this is one of my little liquid crystal portable handheld TVs. I've got a few of these and I need to do videos on these separately. So I won't go into detail with this today, but you get, oh, this one came with some instructions and a guarantee certificate and some fingerprints on the screen. So that's it. It's just a liquid crystal TV, and this is an old analog TV. Now you can transmit sound across. I'm not going to do that today because I don't have a recording on this that I can play. So so basically now all this is powered up, so that image should be being transmitted across this aerial. So if we were to turn the TV on, just make sure I get this right and try and get you to show you. Now it's currently scanning for channels. It's got a little line that's going up and down in this corner. Oh yeah, you can just about see that on the camera. So we'll let it go down to the bottom and then come down again. So this is to tune up and down. Nope, still nothing there. We'll turn this round to face it. It should be picking it up in a second, I hope. There we are. There's Ted on the screen. Now let's see if I can get this to show you on this screen here. Now don't forget, these LCD TVs were never the best TVs. The colours weren't very accurate and the images weren't great. So I'm trying to get that so you can see them. So now if I turn that aerial, you'll see the signal's lost. Now if I turn it back that way, oh, if I can get that to work, there you go, you can see it's back in colour and the signal's not bad. So you turn it away. This is what I was saying about it being very directional. Give it time to pick it up again. It keeps going in and out of colour because I'm moving the TV. It's hard to show you on this little screen. I need to get a better TV setup. I don't have a big analogue TV anymore, like a 14-inch portable TV or anything, so I do need to get something like that. So, right, let's see if we can get the best signal we can get. So there you go. As you can see, turning the arrow makes a difference. So if I was to zoom in on the camera, and you can try and do this with this hand so you can see both the camera and the TV. If I zoom in with that, you can see we zoom in on the TV. So what you're seeing on that camera is being transmitted to your TV. So that is by far the easiest way. And if you just have a look around the TV, you can see I've got nothing plugged in. There is audio video in on this one, so I could have just gone from that to a jack. There's a phono section, and on here there's an extension antenna, so you could put a better antenna in and get an even better picture. But that's it with the aerial down. As you can see, there's nothing connected, and that's basically it. And then the moment I turn this off, it goes. There you go. And then the moment I turn this booster off, you can see the signal's gone grainy. So I'll plug that back in, if I can do this one-handed. Can I? No. Give me a second. I can't do it one-handed. So we plug it back in, aim at it. There you go. Actually, that's the best picture we've had. So, like I say, now you can see both. You zoom in, and there's Ted. You can see both zooming in at the same time. There you go. So yeah, so like I say, with this setup, it will do sound. I haven't got anything recorded on that. What I need to do is try and get one of my videos recorded back to one of these, and then I can play that video back in the background while I'm showing you it's all set up. So that is by far the easiest way to set that up. So it would be one of these RF modulators and this little antenna booster. So just to throw a tiny spanner in the works, because I came across this little device the other day, and well, say the other day, I've had it a while now, and when I saw it and I thought, is that really what I think it is? So I'll just unplug all this, we'll get this out of the way. So we don't need the booster, we don't need this RF modulator, we'll get rid of that just for a second down there. So we'll be using the same power supply. That RF modulator would work with between 9 and 12 volts DC. So we'll now get rid of that wire. We still need these phono connections. Now the other thing I have is this video sender. I'll just move that so it comes out of standby. So we have this video sender here. It's a WV050. Couldn't find any information on the internet. You can just make out it had a cash converter sticker here. It was for sale in one of my local cash converters. Well, I say local, reasonably local, but it wasn't in my hometown. And I went to go and see family members, and this was in the window. Now the operating instructions are on the back here. There is no other operating instructions. Now this it says, works with any audio video component, easy to install, no special tools required. So we'll get rid of the box for a second, just put it over here. So now we're not using this aerial, we've got this little thing. Now you can see channel 31, it's a PAL system, so it's not an NTSC. It is a mono one only, DC 12 volts in. It's got 3 pots on the top. Now I'll be absolutely honest with you, I have no idea what they're for. I've had a look on the back of the box here, and it does not tell you what they adjust. I probably would be better off trying to adjust that. And it says it can do colour or black and white, so you can connect it to any TV in the house apparently. Well, you can't unless you've got a really big aerial to receive the signal on, because this doesn't transmit hardly any power at all. So you've got on air and off, so there's no on and off, it says on air, just video sender. There's no make, no manufacturer make or anything. Doesn't even tell you where it was made, I don't think. Oh, it does, made in Taiwan. I think it's quite old, I'm not exactly sure. So it takes the same 12 volt signal, our source, and then it's only got 2. Now on the old one, video, it's got red and white. So audio is white, video is red, but obviously we know video output from this is yellow, so that would be video. And audio, usually you put your right signal in, so we'll put that in there. Well, I always put the right signal in, I don't think you have to. So you turn it on, and that aerial's loose, so we'll just give it a twist. You press it and it says on air. Now that's it, that's all it is. So you pull up that little aerial, you get your TV again, put it onto UHF. Now this time it's on channel 31, so we'll let it try and tune. There you go, and there's Ted. So if I move that a little bit over here out of the way, you can see the aerial's not even up on this one, and because it's just one of these little aerials, it doesn't seem to be affecting it. It was jumping a little then. I think the V might be vertical hold on that, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it's got worse since I put the aerial up. That's better. You can see the pictures dropping down, look. Is that me messing with the vertical hold on this? I don't think it's got this, has it? No, just got colour. So Maybe it's not quite tuned right. Let's try that again. Nope, something's interfering with it now. I get a lot of interference on channel 31. Right, so we'll tilt that round. We'll turn it. And there you go. So you've got TED on that. Now again, if I zoom in, you can see it zooms in on both. So that is obviously the very simple way of doing it, but your range is really limited. I suppose I could connect an aerial lead to the output of that and then run it through a booster and see what that is. I don't want to risk damaging it. I don't really want to do that with it. It's a really unique little piece of kit. I doubt anybody will come across one of these again unless you happen to have one sat in the house doing nothing. So obviously the earlier option using this aerial and that RF modulator with the booster is by far the best way of doing it. You get a much better signal, so and you get much better distance. This little thing, just thought it was novel. I ended up paying £6 for it. When I first saw it, they wanted £12. I didn't think it was worth £12. They had no power supply with it, nothing. It just came with this and the box. So I offered them £10, they wouldn't take it. So I said okay and left it. And then I kind of kicked myself that I didn't pick it up because I'd never seen one before, and I thought, what are you doing? Why didn't you just get it? So I went back probably about 3 weeks later when I went back to go and see my family member. Lo and behold, it was in the shop. It was up for sale for £6 because no one had bought it. So I picked it up straight away, brought it home. I had no idea if it worked. They told me it had been fully tested, but they didn't have an analogue TV in the entire store, so I don't think they could have tested it properly. So yeah, so I just thought it was really unique and I wanted to show it in this video. But by far the best way to transmit your signal is by doing it with a booster, using your VCR as an RF modulator or buying an RF modulator and then an old aerial. Like I say, if you get one of the big outdoor aerials, put it in your loft, and you know what room you're roughly going to be watching the TV in, you would get a much bigger further distance with it, with a big aerial. And believe it or not, cleaning your aerial makes a big difference. So if you get one second hand and you want to use that aerial, give it a clean. It does work better. Alright, well, once again, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing because it does help me want to make more videos. And obviously if it wasn't for you and you didn't like it, by all means give us a thumbs down. That's your prerogative, it's up to you. Thanks again for watching. All the best. Bye.